So I've got a video message. I guess I could call it a collective video reply for need this message. All right. And the funny thing is, this is something, if my intuition is right, that I completely see you doing. If I'm wrong on what I sensed, then, you know, ultimately, you'll know if I'm wrong. You know, you don't need to confirm or deny. All right. I know this is going to sound weird, but I do go and give a chance to different readers, see what their readings are and, go ahead and see what I could sense. All right. And there was this one video that was meant to be a anonymous apology. All right. It was this reader called Cellulite and Love Tarot. All right. With what was said, I sensed your energy in that reading. All right. And to be honest with you, like, I, th- there's a part of me that's completely dismissive. Like, no, like, that has to be wishful thinking, you know? Like, that, with the way that the apology was worded and phrased, it's the same way you carry yourself. All right. So I was thinking to myself, I'm like, either that's me having wishful thinking, although let's be real. To be honest with you, I expect no apologies. All right. Not from you. The other thought that came to my head was like, wait, it could be, but if it was just with the intention of throwing a curveball, not with betting and malicious intent, but just out of piqued curiosity, you know? And I mean, if that's the case, I can't fault for that at all, you know? But the past few days I've been working through some stuff, and I've kind of put it into overdrive. So I wanted to make sure to take some time to really mull it over before actually giving you a reply. Because the funny thing is, I do listen. I don't always reply, and I don't always reply immediately. You know? There are certain people that I will go ahead and be more measured with than others. You're one of those people that I do get more measured with before giving a reply, only because of the factor that I'm going to give the courtesy of not wasting your time. You know? One thing that I've pointed out, basically, me and you, we have similar to the same goals, just different demographics. All right? And I want to point something out to you. You taught me something. I know you had that goal of being capable of being able to teach me something. You did, actually. And even if it seems like a small thing, the gravity and impact of that thing actually, it's significant. All right? You ended up mentioning the factor that people say that you sound like a Baptist, but you're a deconstructionist. I never knew that there was a genuine term for that. And the funny thing is, my entire life, all right, we're talking even from the point as a child. Like, as a child, I quite legitimately was in church because I had to be, all right? I didn't want to go into children's church. I wanted to stay in the adult services. But while I was in the adult services, most of the times I'd be in the back listening to, what's being said, through the service while reading my Bible. And I read the Bible the entire way through. And my brain picked up specific inconsistencies, And when it would pick up inconsistencies, I'd go ahead and bring that to the pastor's attention. All right? I'd get in trouble for it too, by the way. You made me realize the factor that basically my position would be of a deconstructionist Christian from the point I was a kid. Like, for example, for me, I believe that organized religion has become predatory in nature. If it ever wasn't. I also believe that going ahead and engaging in said organized religion, or organizing within said religion, usually tends to be, and I'm not saying in all cases, I'm saying in most cases that I've experienced, has tended to be performative in nature and monopolized by individuals with delusions of superiority, going ahead and tending to use the engagement in said, gathering and congregating to go ahead and validate their sense of superiority, while simultaneously being snobbish, judgmental, and usually in some form or another, self-serving, but self-serving in a way that the motivations tend to be so hidden that deniability would always be possible. So that ended up going ahead and making me stand in the position of, I don't believe that you need to congregate and organize and, gather in said spaces in order to be a good person, to prove that you're a good person, or to go ahead after being societally pressured to go and engage in, in such traditions, to prove your desire to be better than you at one point were. I mean, that has been a solid foundation, belief-wise, for me for a long time. So you actually helped me realize, with going ahead and clarifying being a deconstructionist, that my whole life, my beliefs never changed. Like, I quite literally, I've held the same position since childhood, while simultaneously never knowing what the terminology was for it. So you taught me that. And the funny thing is, there's another thing that you actually ended up bringing up to me that I want to go ahead and point out as ironic. You ended up going ahead and mentioning Napoleon Hill. When you went to go ahead and suggest Napoleon Hill, I was like, it was kind of ironic because I actually just lent Outwitting the Devil to my mom. So I was like, so you're gonna tell me that we both end up going ahead and getting drawn to the same literature? All right. This is this is surprising, turn of events. And keep in mind, I'm not saying that it's surprising because, in any way, going ahead and, you know, dismissing or discounting in any which way your intelligence. It's just one of those, like, tell me that if we both ended up going ahead and looking back at context from the other's, content, that we've basically been debating the same precision from the opposing perspective, and literally falling into the trap of factionism, just being like, oh, because of the factor of being from the opposite demographic generally, that we've held similar beliefs. But basically, belief system wise, it has been not a game of chicken, but kind of a two ships passing in the night scenario. Alright? Just basically never really meeting, but at the same time, position wise, have got flipped around. Same direction. Just different speeds based on, point in time being born. You would be shocked to find out how many times that's happened, in my personal experience. But I just wanted to say the reason why, when I sensed that, I was in such disbelief, just so you know, it wasn't because of the factor of, believing that you're incapable of being able to go ahead and, show the humility or demonstrate the humility needed in order to be able to give a genuine apology, It's that quite literally, and I gotta say, this is one thing. I don't know if you've ever watched My Queen's Eye Tarot. If you go to look up Fruitful Seeds LLC, you'll find her content. One thing that she ends up saying a lot is, there's no better apology than changed behavior. All right? And the factor of the change in your energy and delivery, going from, I have to go ahead and have myself positioned, from, having to be the example, basically the generation before. To somewhere along the line, you're getting to see, I guess, after I ended up going ahead and reading you. And the funny thing is, back when I first started learning how to be able to read people, I used to go ahead and ask them, be like, all right, out of 100%, how accurate was I? All right. I ended up getting to learn, ultimately, that right there was a sense of arrogance, whether or not I wanted to perceive it that way or not, That was me seeking validation. Well, meantime, if I had been wrong, the reaction would have been a sense of hostility, of how dare you go ahead and, perceive me in such light. You clearly don't understand or know anything about what I've been through, what it's ended up going ahead and forming me into and shaping me into as a person, And how genuine that level of feeling insulted, it'll show, So that's my reason why, when it comes to kind of that energy change of going from a position of, feeling like you needed to go ahead and drill your point through, to now being like, all right, no more attempting to psych you out. And legitimately going ahead and having that level of enthusiasm of being like, hey, I'm telling you right now, you know that enthusiasm you have with guitar when you end up going ahead and, with you learning and paying attention to videos of people that have like years of experience on you, being like, oh man, if I would have been able to know this when I first learned guitar, like, oh, I would have made so much more progress, so much quicker. That level of excitement, enthusiasm, when it comes down to the direction trying to lead me, when it comes down to literature, to go ahead and, to direct me towards, And I gotta say, it's appreciated. It really is, So that right there, that's called changed behavior. The best apology one could give. But as far as needing to hear, I'm sorry, like I need to go ahead and see some form of degradation in order to go ahead and understand what's changed on your end? No. Never from you. Alright? I appreciate your strength. I also do appreciate your criticism. And I know you got quite a bit of it. But at the same time, too, I think you're understanding how much just criticism, is absolutely irrelevant to me. Constructive criticism, though, that shit's a fucking currency in my eyes. But just wanted to go ahead and put that out there. And also, if you've been seeing my videos of me going ahead and returning the favor of reading other readers that have read me, whether or not they realized that they were reading me, or whether they announced that they were reading me or not, and just demonstrating my discernment, by being like, hey, I bet, I'm seeming so vain that I think this reading's about me, but yeah, no, I'm gonna go ahead and return the favor. And ultimately, if I've been wrong, like if I've genuinely been wrong on what I've been reading, I'd be more than welcoming to the person being like, hey, so you completely got it twisted. But at the same time, too, there's certain people that at the same time that I know would jump on that opportunity if I was wrong, And I gotta say, I understand where your enthusiasm is coming from. Just seeing an entirely new generation of people that are going ahead and discovering, that little voice, that internal monologue, that they're, at some point or another, everybody that's gotten to learn how to be able to kind of separate that internal criticism from their intuition, going ahead and being like, wait, that thought, like, am I crazy? Like, am I crazy on what I'm picking up on? I got this like gut feeling. I can't put my finger on it, but at the same time, like, I can't even ignore how detailed it feels. This next upcoming generation, yeah, doesn't matter how much I've been pushing to try to reach just levels past human comprehension. I'm gonna be left in the dust, and I gotta say, when that happens, I'm not gonna feel salty about it. I'm not gonna feel bad about it. If anything, honestly, I can't even tell you how astounded I am. Like, it's... Funny thing is, I bet anime is not really your, you know, your specific, preference of media. But the funny thing is, for anybody that likes Dragon Ball Z and has watched, the Dragon Ball Z Abridged series, they'd understand what I mean by this. It's kind of that same intensity but different emotion that ended up coming from Vegeta when he's like, wow, I've never felt this before. This sense of pride. It's a shame that it's overshadowed by this unyielding rage. It's not unyielding rage. It's unyielding enthusiasm. Like, it's just like, go ahead. Make me look like I'm wet behind the ears. I'm all for it. Show me the hell up. I think that aspect confuses people, but it is what it is. But have a good day, and just know, even when you think I'm not paying attention, I'm paying attention. I'm just working on being more measured in my responses. Working on it. Understand, I am a work in progress, though, so there are some times where that knee-jerk reaction might end up coming regardless, but when that happens, I think you understand. Don't take it personally. It quite literally is one of those, like, usually what ends up going ahead and being the sparking point for that happen is like, here I pride myself on knowing myself inside and out, and then this bitch pointed out things to me that I didn't fucking notice. The hell? Like, she saw that blind spot, was like, boom, gotcha. That's usually what ends up going ahead and being the motivating drive when you end up actually getting that knee-jerk reaction. So when that happens, I'd appreciate you not take it personally. It quite literally is. It's not a response of anger or frustration. It's a response of being caught off guard, which does not happen very often at all. So when it does happen, I don't think that my emotional response understands exactly how to be able to genuinely process it in a expedient manner, or how to be able to express it, which lets me know that's one of those blind spots to go ahead and hammer on, because, usually go ahead and hit a weak point, and just keep hitting that weak point, eventually it's going to strengthen up, so. But you have a good day.